We may take one moment away from soccer. The Belmont Stakes, the third leg of the Triple Crown, has been won by American Pharaoh. He's a Triple Crown winner. First time since the firm won in 1978 and Secretariat in 73. American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown winner. Once again, the reminder that the scoreboard is for your convenience. The official game time is kept on the field. Substitution rules.
On a beautiful Saturday evening in Boyd's, Maryland, it's National Women's Soccer League time, one final time before the Women's World Cup puts the league into a hiatus. Hello, Michael Minnick bringing you commentary today as the Boston Breakers visit the Plex to battle the Washington Spirit. And both teams coming in off of 1-goal wins last week. For Washington, it was a 2-1 win after Iowa's goal in the 18th minute put the Portland Thorns ahead. Amanda DaCosta equalized things with her first goal stateside in the 26th minute, and Crystal Dunn added to her league-leading total by scoring in the 28th minute. For Boston, it was a tighter affair. Just one goal, Christy Mewis' strike in the 51st minute, the difference, as Boston pocketed 3 points for the third time at home. And not surprisingly, since both teams were able to get a good result the last time, both will play the same 11 tonight. First, Tom Durkin's 11 for Boston. Jamie Kranish gets the nod in goal. She'll play behind the back four of Rachel Wood, Julie King, Cassie Coleman, and Molly Pathman. In the midfield for Boston, it's Amy Barzik, Katie Shepfer, Christy Mewis, and Maddie Everson up top. Stephanie McCaffrey will partner Morgan Marlborough. For Mark Parsons and the Spirit, undefeated at home this year, looking to go 3 for 3 before the break. Kelsey White keeps her spot in goal. Catherine Reynolds, Estelle Johnson, Megan Oyster, and Whitney Church left to right across the back. In the midfield, it's Christine Nair wearing the captain's armband today, with Angela Salem and Joanna Lohman playing against her former club. Up top, it's Laura Del Rio partnering Crystal Dunn and Amanda DaCosta. Benches tonight for the Spirit. Lindsay Hokinson was called up. She'll be the backup goalkeeper to Kelsey Weiss tonight for Washington. Caprice Didasco will be a field sub along with Tiffany Weimer, who made her return to professional soccer last week as a late sub, as well as Alex Singer. Tori Huster, who missed out last week, is available as a substitute, and Jen Skogerbo. For Boston, Shea Brown, who had a trial with the Spirit in preseason, is the backup goalkeeper. Reserve field subs are Lauren Lazo, Suzanne Perez, Kim Ezerique, and Steph Verdoya. Officials tonight for this one. Levi Rippey has the middle, Jeffrey Skinker and Corson Fiddler, your assistant referees, and Lawrence Rodriguez is the fourth official. Boston in the road whites tonight with the blue shorts and white socks will kick off going from right to left here in the first half of Spirit again in the home. Blue tops with red on the shoulders, red shorts, and red socks. And we're underway here in Boyd's, Maryland. Two teams looking to go into the break on a winning note. The Spirit enter in second place with 13 points out of 8 matches. Boston 3 points behind them. They've scored 10 points now out of 7 matches. Both those teams chasing Chicago. The Red Stars, with a match in hand on the Spirit, have 15 points they're playing right now against Western New York at Salem Stadium. Angela Salem won the ball now for Washington. Playing it forward in the channel for Lohman. Broken up by Shepfer, knocked out for a Spirit throw-in 35 seconds in. Whitney Church taking it for Salem, getting it back. Now it falls again for Angela Salem. Chip up the side looking for the speedy Dunn, who enters play as the leading scorer in the league with 6 goals to go with 2 assists. She has a point in her last 7 appearances for the Spirit. All starts after coming on as a sub late in the match at Houston to open the season. So the U.S. national team's loss so far has been the Spirit's gain. Dunn, one of the final cuts for the roster of 23 that will go to battle starting Monday against Australia. And Mark Parsons happy to have Crystal Dunn in his side. Lohman now for Salem. Switching it left. Nairn, the captain, will let it roll for Reynolds, who plays it up the line. For Laura Del Rio, who had, I think, her best match in a Spirit uniform last week against Portland, really causing a lot of trouble from that left striker position, taking 2 shots, both on target. And now Del Rio chesting it down in the channel, marked by Wood. Dunn once at the top of the 18. Del Rio losing her defender, crossing in and into the side netting. And no harm done for Jamie Kranish, who will take the goal kick. Kranish, of course, wearing a bit of an odd number for a goalkeeper. She's wearing number 2. Don't often see netminders wearing anything other than 1, really, but especially not number 2. Goalkeeper out of Villanova knocks it towards midfield. Header 1 there by the Breakers. Knocked forward. Megan Oyster will get a touch and go back to give Kelsey Weiss her first look of the match. Space now for Stella Johnson to find the feet of Reynolds. So Boston will drop off, keep their 4-4-2 shape, and go to work defensively against the Spirit, who are in a 4-3-3 tonight. Oyster. Salem. Back again for Oyster. And the exchange continues. Now Salem will switch it up and switch fields, looking for Del Rio, who didn't see that well in the sun, and an easy step and win for Molly Pathman. Knocked forward now into the path of Morgan Marlborough, and deflected out now for a Breakers throw in the 4th minute. Michael Minnick here with you. Glad you joined us here on this fine Saturday evening here in Boyd's, Maryland. A busy day of soccer with the Champions League final, of course, earlier this afternoon, and Women's World Cup kicking off in Canada. Throw in into the 18 with one hop. Oyster chests it down. Second touch made by Nairn, who knocks it clear. Knocked back in towards Marlborough. Cleared by Oyster. Forward, flicked on by Dunn. Now Shepper steps up to win it. Trying to shield off is McCaffrey. Square now for Mewis. And the league's leader in shots takes another one. That's 37 attempts now for Christy Mewis, but that one off the frame and an easy goal kick. Chance for Kelsey Weiss, who immediately goes for Estella Johnson. Mewis, despite playing in that midfield spot, as I said, leads the league in shots. Crystal Dunn second. Del Rio looking for Dunn. Turns into a sea of white, dispossessed now, and Rachel Wood will walk it back towards the end line. Wood making her 4th start of the year, 2nd straight. Stolen now in midfield by the Spirit. Here's Del Rio, which now is behind Amanda DaCosta, and that allows Molly Pathman back into the play. She'll knock it up the sideline. Oyster trying to shoot off Marlborough, and does so. It'll be a Spirit throw, which Whitney Church will step up to take. Back again for Megan Oyster. You may recall last year's meeting between these two at the Maryland SoccerPlex, one of the craziest games I've ever seen. A 3-3 tie, as there were 3 penalty kicks called by Dimitar Chavdarov that night. Boston got 2 in the first 10 minutes, which Heather O'Reilly buried. Then the Spirit got a goal back from Lisa Devanna. Jasmine Reeves put Boston up 3-1 right before the half. And then Jody Taylor made it 3-2 in the 56th minute. And then the 91st minute, the 3rd penalty kick of the game, Diana Matheson buried it. We had a 3-3 tie on, as I said, one of the stranger matches I've seen in this league. Foul that was Del Rio is taken down by Shep for a free kick for the Spirit. And though all the games in this series haven't been quite that bizarre, it's been a series, as this is now the 8th match, where every game's had 2 goals or more. So very open between Boston and Washington historically, but so far no chances either way. And right now hoping to change that is Christine Nairn, who will take this free kick. 2-bar wall for Boston. Spirit clustering players on the right edge of the box. Serve comes in towards the far post, headed by Church. Wide is she? I don't think she saw that ball well, looking right into the sun. Woman was also available there at the far post, as Pathman did the marking along with Julie King. Goal kick for Kranich and the Breakers. Easy win for the head of Christine Nairn, but a good step and win from Wood. Possession switches back to Nairn in the Spirit, and she'll go left for the blue boots of Catherine Reynolds. Up the line now for Joanna Lumen, playing against her old club, as I mentioned earlier. Christine Nairn with space to set up. She'll take the shot from deep, and Nairn's shot is a good one, but just over. And Boston will again take a goal kick, but that's something that Tom Durkin will tell his midfield to fix, as Christine Nairn is someone that can strike from distance and has struck from distance this year, coming in with 4 goals, a tie for 3rd in the league, behind Sofia Huertas 5, and as I mentioned earlier, Crystal Dunn 6. Header won by Lohman down. Del Rio coming back for it. Marked by Maddie Evans. She'll find the feet of Reynolds. Now it's Nairn. Center circle for Salem. Whitney Church. Looking for Dunn. Good step from Julie King. Correction, that was Coleman with the step up. Now the Breakers will try and counter Marlboro. Can't beat Church. Good touch from Dunn to find DaCosta's feet, and now Salem will try and return it for the speedy Dunn. Headed up the line by Pathman, and Church will plead the case that she didn't touch that one. AR agrees, and it'll be a Spirit throw. DaCosta touching it for Church. Now again for Amanda DaCosta. Turning inside is Crystal Dunn. Good step and win again from Coleman. These two players will be very familiar with each other from ACC days. Dunn at North Carolina and Coleman at Florida State. Second-year players both. Dunn was the #1 pick of the Spirit before last season, and Coleman the first-round selection of FC Kansas City, but headed east in the trade for Heather O'Reilly before this season. Crystal Dunn, first-time cross in and wide of the run of DaCosta at the far post, and another goal kick for Boston. Kranich launching it back into play towards midfield. 50-50 header won by Maddie Evans over Joanna Loman, two generations of Penn State Nittany Lions. And now another one in Christine Nairn, switching it for another one in Whitney Church. Goes direct looking for Crystal Dunn, but well over the head of the Spirit center forward and into the clutches of Jamie Kranich, who will roll it out for Julie King. King captaining the Breakers today. Has her clearance picked off by Estelle Johnson. Pass behind, and now a chance for DaCosta to counter. Laying it first time into space for Dunn, and again Coleman is there, and the flag was up anyway on Crystal Dunn for offside, but that's something the Spirit have done very well this year, is almost that basketball press where DaCosta or especially Dunn or Del Rio get a steal and start an attack 2-on-1, 3-on-2, 1-on-0 in the case of DaCosta last week, and Dunn as well, as they were able to create turnovers and create goals. That's the Spirit overturned that 1-0 deficit and got their first ever win over Portland. This is another series where they've not had great success historically. 1-3-3 against the Breakers, but certainly these rosters have seen quite a bit of changeover, and Spirit are not nearly the team they were 2 years ago where they were bottom of the league. They rose to the playoffs last year and hoping to rise a couple more rungs to the title this year. And second place entering this one. Church. Salem. Now DaCosta coming back from a forward position. Ball deflected off the leg of Amy Barzik and hit DaCosta on the way through. Into the box now. Trying to turn is McCaffrey. Forced back by Estelle Johnson. Switching it right into space and well sniffed out by Del Rio, who will clear the trouble temporarily. Julie King restarting the Breakers' attack. Heavy touch nearly punished by Joanna Loman, but the Breakers will keep possession. King going right, getting it back. Knuckles up the sideline off the deflection, and McCaffrey's beaten to it, but the pass back to Estelle Johnson is heavy, and the Spirit concede a corner here in the 11th minute. And this might be a trouble spot for the Spirit defense today. You've got the 6-foot Marlboro, of course. Barzik's 5'9", Shepard's 5'8", Woods 5'11", Coleman's 5'8", King's 5'9". So a lot of options in the box against a Spirit side that's one of the shorter ones in the league. Nairn Costa trying to prevent the short corner here. And it will be taken short and well blocked by Nairn. Flag is up on that sideline. And they're saying that one of the Breakers players started in an offside position and came back. So not only did the Spirit thwart that short corner, they were able to get their back line up in time to get it a quick free kick and get out of trouble. Never been a fan of the short corner personally. I know it can work in some circumstances, but usually the element of surprise is what makes it effective, and the Spirit had two players marking that short corner, 2-on-2, so no real numerical advantage there for Boston. And as I said, with the height advantage, you think they want to drive in and make Kelsey Weiss work. King tried to keep that in play, but could not do so. Spirit throw for Joanna Lohman. Christine Nairn now. Switch comes right for Church. Space for the rookie to attack. Inside for Dunn. Turn from Dunn is stood up well by Coleman. She'll get a second look at it. Comes out to DaCosta and now Nairn. They'll try Dunn again. Stumbles. Referee not having anything to do with that as Levi Rippey says play on. Crystal Dunn slow to get it back on her feet. And now the Spirit ace will try and walk it off as Kranich hits deep. Won by the 6-foot frame of Marlboro left. Ball comes in and whistle goes against the Breakers, and the Spirit will get a free kick. One of the advantages, and there are many, of having a forward that tall in Marlboro is not only do you get chances for yourself, but you can get chances to lay it off for a teammate, and that's one of the reasons why Mewis has been able to get so many shots off this year. She played that ball long for Marlboro, she knocks it down, and Mewis has a look from 20 yards out. So tailor-made play. Church has been active on the right side. Dummies that one for DaCosta. Nairn at the center stripe. And now inside for Salem. DaCosta will switch it left into space for Reynolds. Del Rio shooting her eyes is up the line. Del Rio now will play the first time cross in, headed out by Julie King. Second look for Reynolds. She'll go wide again for Del Rio. The Spaniard drops it. Well organized there from the Breakers, forcing the Spirit to go back behind their own center stripe here as Oyster possesses. And I wonder if the adjustment from Mark Parsons is to get those outside backs up a little bit more. You're already starting to see it as Church is even with the forwards right now, and Reynolds is pretty high as well, because Boston's letting them have that. They're letting those outside backs have possession, so why not attack? And Reynolds and Church are two players that are very capable of serving in a good ball or even cutting inside and taking a shot from 20 or 25 yards out. DaCosta. By Mewis. Counter is on now for Marlboro and Boston. Dummy through by McCaffrey, who will try and turn against Oyster. And the rookie out of UCLA will knock it out for a throw-in. Pathman taken quickly. 1-2 there goes behind Amy Barzik, and it'll be a Spirit throw. Mewis steps by the challenge of Christine Nairn. Now plays it square behind the run of Marlboro. Now laid off. Evans held up well by Del Rio. Good defending from the veteran Spaniard. She'll start the attack herself up the sideline before dumping it back for Reynolds. Church. Angela Salem. Nairn. High switch left for Catherine Reynolds. Into the channel now for Joanna Lohman. Evades the tackle there. Nairn pleading for a call, and the Spirit captain won't get the free kick, but it will be a throw for Washington, which Catherine Reynolds will jog up to take. Hold up here as the Spirit will look at Del Rio, and then I'll give Nairn a chance to get up close and personal with Levi Rippey and say that should have been a foul. And now they will wave the trainer on to take a look at Laura Del Rio. Angela Salem will take the opportunity to get some words from Mark Parsons in a water bottle. Del Rio's been helped off the field out of touch. And the Spirit for now will play down one. Lohman chesting it down. Retains possession. Back to Nairn, but it's stolen away. Now space in the center of the park for Mewis. Weighted ball out left, a good one from Molly Pathman. Second-year player out of Duke looking to get across off, blocked well by Whitney Church. And now played inside for DaCosta. Knocked long by Oyster. As Del Rio continues to get treatment on the sideline about 15 yards from the end line. Spirit have some substitutes putting in some work just in case. Not a ton of urgency in their paces so far, so you hope Del Rio can. King chesting it down at midfield for Boston and going right. Broken up by Dunn. Now Salem. Chip for Church. DaCosta to a right and show player. Marked by Molly Pathman. DaCosta goes to work. Fakes the cross, now goes inside. Plays it square and nobody home for the Spirit. And an easy win for Maddie Evans, who will start the attack forward for Marlboro. Evans gets it back in the center circle. Good ball to find Shepfer. Chip into space, now looking for McCaffrey. Weishofer line will call off Oyster. Quick scoop and roll for Estella Johnson. Still waiting for our first shot on goal in this game as the Spirit have had the majority of the possession. Boston really content to keep them at bay 35, 40 yards from goal and let them make passes and possessions just like this. While the Spirit have been more aggressive switching fields than normal to try and find the chink in the armor. DaCosta. Chip into space for Dunn is a good one. Dunn in the box, trying to cut back on King, does so nicely. First time shot from Dunn is right at Kranich. Crystal Dunn, you would never know that she hadn't played a ton of forward before Mark Parsons moved her to this year. She has been nothing short of fantastic. Again, leading the league in scoring with 6 goals, 2 assists to go with that. And every game the Spirit have won, she's had the winning goal or winning assist. Shepfer now with a rip from deep and high and wide. Whistle as well, and that was deflected by a Spirit player, so a corner for Boston will come, their second of the match. Laura Del Rio is back on, by the way, so we're back to 11-11 as Del Rio will take up position at the near post, help Kelsey Weiss shrink that goal a little bit. And again, it'll be Christy Mewis walking over to take the corner. Available short is McCaffrey. Everybody in red and blue except for Dunn defending for the Spirit on this play. The left-footed serve from Christy Mewis in towards the near post, headed back across the face by Wood, but nobody home in white, and it will be cleared by Reynolds forward for Dunn. And now here's the danger as Dunn can go one-on-one against Pathman. Carolina against Duke. Cutting inside is Dunn, and Crystal Dunn is denied by Kranich. Great job there by Kranich and Wood in defense, but now a back pass, and I'm not really sure what that was about. But off the skip, Kranich will make the play, but going back to the point I was just making, really good job there by Pathman to cut down the angle, and then Kranich finished the job coming out. Crystal Dunn, though, one-on-one. Probably nobody in the league right now that you'd want to see less if you're the other team coming at you in that kind of situation. Really good counter from the Spirit. Weiss will call off Oyster. 3 shots now unofficially for the Spirit. Boston still looking for their first on frame. This is a portion of the game where the Spirit have really done some nice damage. They've scored 3 goals between the 16th and 30th minute. Not one there, though, as the cross inside from Del Rio is denied and knocked forward by Mewis. Again, space for Nairn to collect and go left for Reynolds. Up the line for Del Rio. Will attack Rachel Wood, and a good tackle from Wood to knock it out for a throw-in. Good technique from the ball person on the first line to do a correct throw-in to throw it to Catherine Reynolds. Trying to turn is Del Rio, does so. Marked by Evans, gets the cross off. Shot from DaCosta is high. And it did get through cleanly, a goal kick for Boston, but the Spirit able to, again, get some penetration deep, make that cross back across the 6-yard box, but DaCosta didn't have a lot of space, a lot of a window to shoot that, and wasn't able to direct it on frame. Spirit, though, with their best spell of the game, without question, as Crystal Dunn had the best chance in the match a few minutes ago, going 1-on-2 in the breakaway if you count the goalkeeper Kranich, and forcing a save at the top of the 18 from the former Villanova Wildcat goalkeeper. Whistle against the Spirit will hand the Breakers a free kick midway through the first half. Julie King will chip it. Easy pick for Salem, who brings it down smartly for Lohman. Crystal Dunn now, looking for assistance as Lohman will make the run through the center channel. Now Dunn will play her. Lohman unable to get to that one, but a good idea there. Daniel Malgary and I talked last week about how we think Joanna Lohman has really picked up her form the last couple weeks as more of an attacking midfielder. And I'm sure she'd be very keen to score against the Boston Breakers club that let her go after last season. Spirit got Lohman on waivers, and that's looking like a very good buy right now, as with Tori Huster's injury especially, Lohman's been able to settle into this trio with Nairn and with Salem and produce good results. Tori Huster, if you're just joining us, is on the bench tonight, listed as probable in the injury report, and she tries to fight back from injury. Crystal Dunn changes direction on Wood. Now beats Wood up the sideline. Has three options in the box. Dunn's cross in deflected and cleared on the volley by Coleman. Shepard at her own 18, pressured by Salem. Plays a good ball to Maddie Evans to relieve some pressure. Now Evans will knock it deep, looking for the target of Stephanie McCaffrey. But it's headed down instead by Estelle Johnson, and Reynolds will finish the job back to Oyster in space. Oyster steps up to chip it forward, but easy stuff for Cassie Coleman, who will get the ball back in midfield from Barzik. Now it's McCaffrey, stolen by Salem, to the feet of Dunn, and now Lohman. Nairn with a good ball into space for Lohman, but too much on that one. And again, Lohman finding herself in a dangerous position. But it's a throw for Wood and Boston in the end. Really just a handover of possession to Christine Nairn there, as there was really nobody in white available for that throw in. Church hustling well to keep that in play. Marked by Molly Pathman. Her cross is deflected. DaCosta will take a look at it and go back for Angela Salem. Again, Lohman in that advanced position left, inside of Laura Del Rio, who gets the ball here. Overlapping is Reynolds. She'll get it. First time cross from Reynolds towards the far post towards DaCosta. She'll have to double back for it. Picked up by Pathman. And stolen inside by the backtracking Christy Mewis. Marlborough shielding. Lohman gets a foot in there to steal for Del Rio, but the pass intended for Dunn is off the mark. The idea was correct to play that first time while Boston's defense was up. But Kranich, wise to it, will whack it deep. Again, a 50-50 ball won by the Spirit, but Shepfer wins it back for Boston. Johnson gets a touch in. And a whistle there against Boston for dangerous play as Maddie Evans came in on Estelle Johnson. Evans trying to erase her last memory here at the Plex. She was red carded as a substitute in that wacky 3-3 tie I mentioned earlier. Captain Penn State and Christine Nairn and Whitney Church were there. So I'm sure there'll be lots of handshakes and hugs after things have completed today. Nairn, who played some center forward for a few weeks, but now is back in a more familiar center midfield position. Going right for Church, who plays it inside, looking for Dunn. Tangle there between Dunn and Coleman, and the Call goes to Spears' way for the throw in. Church wants to take it quickly. Boston defending it well, though, and that'll force Church to go back to Salem. Again, the Breakers content to give that space to Catherine Reynolds. Left for Del Rio. Whips the cross in towards Dunn, headed well by Coleman. Second ball will be picked up by Shepfer as Loman slipped. Now Nairn will try it from deep, but right at Jamie Kronich. Saw it all the way. But again, Nairn with her second open look from 25, 30 yards out. Certainly can score from there. Oyster fighting for it against the taller Marlboro and wins it. DaCosta. Salem. DaCosta will get it back again. Tries to play it inside for Dunn, but again, Coleman with that job tonight knocks it out, and a nice little outside of the foot touch from Mark Parsons. Boston's ready to make an early substitution here in the 29th minute. And it's going to be Wood making way. I didn't see any kind of injury or anything, so Tom Durkin with a very interesting move going for Lauren Lazo in the 29th minute. Durkin having a word with Wood. Wood's nodding, so whatever he's saying made sense, but like I said, that's got to be a tactical change from what I've seen. I didn't see any kind of signs of injury. Cross from Dunn in, loose in the box, and cleared by Coleman. So Lazo, the rookie out of Princeton, making her third appearance, first as a substitute. Nairn tried to put that one on frame. I'm not sure if that's what she meant to do, but it did riffle the top netting on the way through, but it will be a goal kick. Back to the sub. Sure, Washington was having some success up that side, but it wasn't really excessive. It wasn't like Del Rio and Reynolds were handing Wood her lunch. It was a pretty solid effort, I thought, from Rachel Wood, but Tom Durkin bringing Lazo one very early. And that always hamstrings you a little bit later in the match, especially if it remains 0-0 or tight. You've already used one of those three substitutions. By Nairn into space for Loman. One by King, and here's Lazo. We'll see if this continues, but it looks to me like King has moved outside to right back where Wood was, and Lazo is now playing next to Coleman in the middle. So that also makes you wonder if maybe the change was made not so much to clean up the right, but to shore up the middle a little bit and move King outside where she's played for the majority of her NWSL career. But of course, the Cat Whitehill's retirement, middle of last week, the Breakers are still trying to shuffle the pieces, as that was someone that was really written and granted in that lineup, Cat Whitehill, a stalwart in the last two leagues. Of course, here for the Freedom in Washington, and then for the Breakers so far in this iteration of women's professional soccer. Johnson. Nairn. Church. The Breakers bench urging their players to put a little bit more pressure on the ball. Dunn trying to head it past Coleman, but falls for King, and she'll knock it out. So it looks like those two, Lazo and King, have interchanged a little bit, but King is playing the more central role at this moment. Touch now for Coleman. Mewis will fight for it a second time with Church. And Barzyk can't keep that one alive on the near sideline. It will be a Spirit throw. Here just joining us, no goals to speak of. The Spirit have had the best chance so far as Crystal Dunn got 1v1 with Molly Pathlin on a counterattack. I thought the Duke defender did well to get in her way and allow Kronich to come off her line and help, and Kronich eventually did make the save off the shot from Dunn from about 17 yards out. And that's kept this game scoreless. Spirit certainly have been the much more attacking side as Dunn picks up a turnover. Lays it inside looking for DaCosta. Won instead by Cassie Coleman again. And now Mewis, who's popped out left, will pick up possession and play it forward for McCaffrey. Church stumbles. Whistle here, and it will be a foul on Whitney Church for obstructing the run of Stephanie McCaffrey. Loman with the veteran play there to get a couple yards away from Christy Mewis and not allow the Breakers maestro to take this. Instead, it'll be Pathman knocking it deep towards the top of the 18, towards Marlboro, but headed by Nairn. Second ball picked up by Evans. Drop back for Lazo. Her chip towards the penalty spot, headed by Megan Oyster for Washington. Now DaCosta for Salem, and possession given right back to Lazo. Heavy touch, though, and Del Rio will steal. Inside for Christine Nairn. Pass forward intended for Dunn is blocked by Shepfer, and King will let it roll for a Spirit throw-in. Nairn. Reynolds inside for Del Rio. Oyster under pressure from McCaffrey will go right for Church. Ball towards Loman's a good one. Loman trying to track it down. Still loose in the box as Loman stumbles. And it goes out. What will the call be as Loman on her knees will make the appeal for the foul and not have it heard by Levi Rippey. It'll be a goal kick. Loman again doing a nice job of picking her spots to come forward, make those attacking runs. She's got herself in some positions. And certainly with the attention that Crystal Dunn's going to draw in the middle, as Coleman and King have shadowed her the whole match, there's going to be pockets where Loman can float into. Dunn now on the left side, marked by cross towards DaCosta, and good body control there from Molly Pathman to not allow DaCosta a clean run at that one, and it comes all the way through for a Breakers throw. Whistle there as Marlboro pushed Oyster in Levi Rippey's opinion, and it will be a free kick for the Spirit. Morgan Marlboro has found a home here in Boston after being traded in that move I mentioned earlier with the Heather O'Reilly deal. She played just 247 minutes for FC Kansas City last year. She's already played over 400 for Boston this year, so certainly she's found a little bit more playing time as a Breaker as opposed to a Blue. Dunn trying to get a step on King and does so. DaCosta's open at the far post, but the cross is blocked well by King, and Lazo will clean up and knock it off the guardrail there in front of the fans on the far side, and will concede a Spirit throw. Stay tuned at halftime as we'll have some fun features for you. If you follow the Spirit's YouTube channel, you'll be familiar with one of these as the shot comes in from Del Rio and right at Kranich. Also has some fun questions with Christine Nairn as she's spotlighted, so that and more coming up at halftime here from the Plex, where there's no goals to speak of so far. Spirit now unofficially with 5 shots on goal. Boston still looking for the first. That's really troubled Kelsey Weiss. The Breakers have had both corner kicks so far in this match, but haven't done much with them. In fact, the second one was the one that led to the Crystal Dunn counterattack that nearly made it 1-0 Spirit. Breakers will be able to bring some numbers forward here for this throw-in, which Lazo would jog up to take. Throw into the box. McCaffrey trying to shake Reynolds. Bit of a miss hit there from the Spirit left back, but she recovers in time to concede a throw-in rather than a corner. On the Breakers side, Kim Azarike has begun jogging to warm up, so she might be someone that Tom Durkin turns to at the half. But again, they've already used one substitute, so do you really want to use a second one so early? Barzik. Marlboro. Shepfer for McCaffrey. Trying to beat Reynolds. Reynolds gets the tackle in, and it will come off of McCaffrey last. It'll be a Spirit goal kick. Again, the Spirit have been on the front foot, but when they've had to defend, I think they've done it very well. This right side with the pair of rookies, Oyster and Church, is really congealed nicely. And then, of course, Reynolds and Johnson on the left side have played together in Western New York before, so that chemistry was already there. This back four has really been a constant with Weiss behind it for the last 3 or 4 matches. Mark Parsons has liked what he's seen. Lohman. Del Rio. Reynolds. Again, the Spirit will switch fields. Boston's bench yelling at everyone to get up and put a little bit more pressure on the Spirit back four. But when you do that, that opens up space for Dunn. Lohman wants it square, but Dunn's just going to try and beat 2 here. And again, Cassie Coleman's done very well with that assignment, standing up Dunn again and winning possession. Four of Coleman's 5 siblings played college soccer, so you can imagine what that backyard game was like. DaCosta. Dunn. Right for Church. Salem. Early ball in towards Lohman, but too far. And Kranich will make the play as DaCosta on the far side as well with her run. Kranich has had to be active. Coming off her line, of course, making her biggest play in that scenario to deny Crystal Dunn about 17 yards from goal 15-20 minutes ago. Space now for Christy Mewis as Boston tries to steal one before the half, and it's a good one off the post. Rebound cleared by Johnson, headed on by Church, but Christy Mewis had daylight and nearly took advantage of it. Something also to keep in mind as Coleman gets on the ball. You can see Kelsey Weiss is looking into the sun. Turnover, though. Del Rio stood up and slowed down by King. Attack is still on for Dunn in the Spirit. Lohman in support as well as Dunn dances towards the top of the 18 and plays Lohman in. Lohman's first touch is heavy, and that allows Kranich back into the play to make the diving save. But as I said, Weiss is definitely in brighter area right now, looking more into the sun. Kranich has shadows around her, so that advantage, of course, will probably be dissipated by the time the second half starts. So a little bit of an advantage there for the Boston keeper to read things a little better. Salem. And Nairn will go back to Johnson. Boston still unofficially looking for their first shot on goal. They've hit the goal, though, as Christy Mewis hit the post about a minute or two ago. Route 1 now for Crystal Dunn, but the flag is up on the speedy second-year player in North Carolina, and it will be a Boston free kick. Familiar ground for Boston, certainly, if the score stays this way. They've been tied at the half in 4 of their 7 matches so far. And in that scenario, they've won 2 and lost 2. Pathman heading it forward. Oyster will knock it out. Spirit have been even at the break twice, and they've won twice. Shepfer off the giveaway from Oyster. Fakes inside on Nairn. But again, stood up by Lohman as, again, a gaggle of Penn State players involved in the decisive moment of that play. Mentioned the Spirits, 2 matches even at the break. One of them, of course, was here. The game that Francisco Ordega won in the 92nd minute off the through ball from Crystal Dunn. The other one came in the first home game here as the Spirit were even on goals from O'Reilly and Nairn. Then Del Rio set up Dunn for the go-ahead goal and eventual winner in the 46th minute. And then Nairn buried a free kick in the 65th. So the Spirit will be 3 for 3 being tied at the break if this stays 0-0 for the next 4 minutes. Lazo, the first half sub. King. Lazo going towards the top of the 18. Too tall from US, knocked down well by Oyster. First time pass from Salem, and now DaCosta will go to work. Salem and Dunn in support. And forced back to Whitney Church. Switch from Nairn left. Too tall for Del Rio. Again, if you're just joining us, Lauren Lazo came on midway through this first half for Rachel Wood, and I didn't really see an injury-related reason for that, so you have to think it's tactical from Tom Durkin to make a change so early. It's odd. Mewis, who had the best chance for Boston, looking to create another one for Pathman on the left side. Cross in, and Weiss will watch it hop off the top netting for a goal kick. Kelsey Weiss's boot up the middle, headed by, flicked on by Shepper, and into the path now of Stephanie McCaffrey. McCaffrey at the top of the 18, trying to create an angle, passes behind Marlborough, she'll recover for Mewis. Mewis against Church, gets a cross off towards the far post and just over the far post. A goal kick for Weiss, but dangerous searching ball there as Maddie Evans have found her way forward at the far post and had an opportunity had that ball been a little bit lower. Nairn. Crystal Dunn. She'll take it inside from the sideline. Could switch into space. Salem and Del Rio, take your pick. It'll be the Spaniard. Del Rio collecting, crossing, deflected, and it will be a Spirit corner. Their first of the half. Del Rio wanted a handball there. It looked like from her body language as she was talking to the referee's assistant on the far side, but not going to get that. Corner kick, a consolation prize for Washington as we creep towards stoppage time. Christine Nairn will trigger. Salem available short. Dunn and Church as well. 4 players in red and blue. Options at the far post. It will be a short ball for Salem. Touchback now for Dunn. Right-footed ball, in frame from Crystal Dunn, and Krenich will watch that one go just off the top netting as we move into the 1 minute of stoppage time here in the first half. So 2 teams that are believing in the short corner at this point, as Boston's 2 and now Washington's 1 have been of the shorter variety. Whistle here and a foul against the Breakers for a push. Maddie Evans, the culprit. Crystal Dunn will take her drop and then play it for Catherine Reynolds. Turn inside from Nairn. Right for Church. Has Dunn off her right shoulder. Church will go inside. Try to lay it off for Dunn. Cross is played back in across the 6. Loose now in the box. Still being battled for as Coleman steps up. Takes a push, and that's a pretty easy whistle there. Free kick for Boston. And that will be the final touch of the first half. So no goals to speak of, but a golden chance both ways. For Washington, it was Crystal Dunn off a counterattack, getting a chance 1-0 against Molly Pathman. The former Duke Blue Devil rode her down well. That allowed the goalkeeper Kranich to come and make a block. The other way, late in the first half, it was Christy Mewis with a rip from about 22 yards out, left-footed, that went off the post. That was Boston's really only good chance of the first half. We'll step aside now for halftime festivities. No score here at the Maryland SoccerPlex.
Team play
You?
Make the most of
Me?
it before it's gone.
Me? Oh my god. Okay, she dances
Be
all
a
the time.
weekender and book your stay at Hampton. Feel the
Her
Hampton.
boyfriend's name is Penny. Estelle.
I brought a 18.
Make the most
She's
of
always
the weekend
late.
before it's gone.
This is my family. This is Joe.
Be a weekender and book your stay at Hampton.
And
Feel the Hampton.
Hey.
Oh, Laura. She's also not with us. Counterpart to the
Allie
other one.
Krieger. Or she played with me in Australia.
Kath. Ange. She helps out with shoe socks.
Christine.
Yeah.
She, if anyone was going to have a pearl, it would be this person. A pearl. What? How did you get a pearl from the bottom of the sea? What is it in?
A clam. An oyster.
Yeah. Oh, Megan.
Yeah. That was clever. She has a dog that looks like her.
A dog that looks like her.
Yeah.
Tori. Okay. She's from Seattle.
Kath. That song by Hosier that's like, take me to...
Oh, Whitney Church. Yeah. I don't know what this is. Oh.
What does that say?
Hey, are you in town for another meeting? Yep, I brought a 18.
Make the most of the weekend before it's gone.
This is my family. This is Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Be a
Flying
weekender
Hawaiian.
and book your stay at Hampton.
Really loves
Feel the
carrots.
Hampton.
Hey, are you
Singer.
in town for another meeting? Yep, I brought a 18.
She's not here.
Michael Minnick here at the Maryland SoccerPlex. No goals to speak of here between the Washington Spirit and Boston Breakers. A good chance both ways, though, as the Spirit got a look for Crystal Dunn on a one-on-one breakaway, denied by Jamie Kronich, and then Boston going the other way, a good look, but Christy Mewis hitting the post from 22 yards out. But as I said, this is a familiar situation for the Spirit, as this is the third home game for them, the third time they've been tied at the half. So they're hoping for the same result, able to get a 3-1 winner over FC Kansas City a few weeks ago, and then a 2-1 victory over Portland last time out. So Spirit in a good position, and we'll take a look as well at the scoreboard around the league here, as one match as well going on. That's in Western New York, and the Flash and the Red Stars tied at 0-0 at the break. So that's solid result for Washington, because the Red Stars come in on 15 points, Spirit on 13. So a win for Washington and a tie for Chicago would put those teams dead even heading into their head-to-head match at Benedictine in 2 weeks off the World Cup break. Red Stars would have a match in hand, though, at the top of the table. So the full table right now, Chicago has 15 points. They're in first from 7 matches. Then it's Washington with 13 points after 8 matches played. Boston and FC Kansas City both have 10 points. The Breakers do have the tiebreaker, however, thanks to that 1-0 win last week. Right now, in the outside looking in for the playoffs, it's the Houston Dash. They've accumulated 9 points through 7 matches. Then Seattle has picked up 8 points through 6 matches, as has their Cascadia rival Portland. They have 8 points through 7 matches. And then tied for bottom right now, Western New York with 7 points from 6 matches, and Sky Blue FC with 7 points from 8 matches. Again, the league will take a break after this weekend of play, but a full slate tonight. The 2 matches I've already mentioned, the one we're here at, 0-0 at the break, Washington and Boston. Western New York and Chicago 0-0 at the half. Coming up at 8:30, it'll be the Portland Thorns at the Houston Dash. And then at 10 Eastern time, Sky Blue FC on the West Coast to battle the Seattle Reign. Coming off the break, as I mentioned, a pivotal match, as it always seems to be, between the Washington Spirit and Chicago Red Stars. The Spirit's ability to win that season series last year was huge. So this first meeting this year on June 20th, same situation. For Boston, their next game will be at home, as they're in the middle of actually a pretty significant homestand. This is the only game, the one tonight, they'll play away between June 16th and July 18th. So 2 at home, a tie and a win against Sky Blue FC and FC Kansas City respectively. A road trip today, and then back off the break home for Seattle, Western New York, FC Kansas City, and Chicago before a bit of a 2-leg playoff. They'll go to Chicago on July the 11th. World Cup scoreboard is kind of fun to say that, as that tournament kicked off today in Canada and heading towards the home stretch in the first match of the tournament. Canada and China are 0-0. That game, 89th minute, the nightcap tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Should be an interesting one, as I think the battle is going to be for who gets second behind Canada. This result tonight certainly is not the best for the home side. It'll be New Zealand against the Netherlands, that game kicking at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Halftime stats here between the Spirit and Breakers. Spirit have taken so far the majority of the shots. They have a 9-3 lead. They've been able to put, of those 9 shots, 5 on frame. Boston still looking for their first true shot on goal, though, as I said, Mewis has hit the post, and that was the best chance that actually got goalward, other than the save by Kranich. Corner kicks, 2 for Boston, 1 for Washington. The Spirit have been whistled offsides twice, the Breakers once, and the foul battle pretty even. Boston has committed 4, the Washington Spirit 3, and that's not a surprise for the Breakers, as they've committed more fouls than they've suffered in all of their matches but 1. So the second half, I'm sure, will provide some goals, but we're 0-0 here at the half. We'll step aside once again and be back with the second half here for the Maryland SoccerPlex. Stay with us.
I listen to a lot of different artists depending on my mood of the game, but I like a little David Guetta and Nicki Minaj, and a little bit of Beyonce. So a little bit of all realms of music. I would say Rocket Power, for sure. I'm really into Walking Dead. It's really random, but you know, you can always be prepared for a zombie apocalypse, right? It's home. It's good to be home after playing at Penn State and then in Seattle and then in Australia, so it's good to actually be home for an extended period of time for once in my life. Well, I have 2 older brothers, and growing up, I did absolutely everything they did. And my oldest brother, TJ, he just had a knack for soccer, and Kevin, my other brother, you know, got dragged out there, so we both just got into soccer and never looked back. So, you know, to be able to continue to play when I've had them to train me all my life is just something that's come full circle. I mean, they're at every single one of my games, and it's exciting for them to, you know, critique me like they have been doing for years on end, as well as my parents. But I 100% started playing soccer because of my brothers. I would say to have fun. I mean, I think so many parents are just trying to get their kids, it's got to be serious. You got to, you know, work 24 hours a day. But at the end of the day, if you don't love what you're doing and if you're not having fun, you're not going to continue to do it at the level you want to. So I think having fun is a big key role in what we do every day. I mean, yeah, we have a lot of serious moments and hard moments in our lives, but at the end of the day, if we didn't love it and have fun, we wouldn't be here.
Alexander. He can play linebacker, he can play defensive tackle. This is a gifted athlete, and obviously he can play special teams. Josh Mulligan, touchdown!
Welcome back to the Maryland SoccerPlex in Boyd's, Maryland. Maureen Hendricks Field has not seen a goal yet tonight, as the Boston Breakers and Washington Spirit have created a few chances both ways. The Spirit with a 9-3 advantage in shots, 5-0 in shots on goal, but the best chances have been 1-1. Crystal Dunn for Washington had a good shot that was saved by Jamie Cranich on a breakaway, and then Christy Mewis hitting the post the other way for Boston. But possession not always a telling stat because sometimes it doesn't lead to chances, but the Spirit with 63% of the ball in the first half against a Boston team that has pulled out a couple 1-0 wins this year with second half goals. So wouldn't be surprised if that's the strategy. Sit back a little bit, counter when you can on the road. It's a tried and true strategy, and so far Tom Durkin's team has employed it. For Mark Parsons in Washington, though, they have to be pleased with the first half, able to dominate play, get almost 2/3 of the ball, have 3 times as many shots as the Breakers. Breakers are out of the locker room first. They've broken their huddle, and I'm looking to see if they've made any halftime changes. And it does not look like they have. So if you're just joining us, the Breakers made 1 change in the first half. That was bringing Lauren Lazo on for Rachel Wood in the back. So 2 left for Tom Durkin. Mark Parsons has not used any changes yet, and there really were not any players that were warming up at the half, which would suggest maybe a halftime change. You have to figure he's going to stick to his guns, stick to his 11 here in the second half. Spears 11 huddling on the field with a bit of a discussion. I think that they will make some interesting adjustments in the first half after what they saw from Boston. The Breakers were pretty content to let the Spirit possess in their own end, let the back four work the ball, work Nair and Salem in occasionally, as well as Lohman. But I think they did a better job as the game went on of getting some of those players forward, taking advantage of the little bit of space that Boston was giving them. Reynolds, Church, Lohman even playing as almost a surrogate forward were able to get themselves into some good positions and supplement the attack, which of course has been spearheaded, as it has been all year, by Crystal Dunn. So as the Spirit take the field, I see there's no changes for them, so we'll reset the lineups for you. For Boston, it's Cranich in goal, Lazo, King, Coleman, and Pathman across the back. Barzik, Shepfer, Mewis, and Evans in the midfield, and McCaffrey and Marlborough up front. For Washington, it's Weiss in goal, Reynolds, Johnson, Oyster, and Church across the back, Nairn, Salem, and Lohman in midfield, and Del Rio, Dunn, and DaCosta, the Killer D's, up top. Washington kicking off, going from right to left here in half number 2. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is something Washington's done well, turning on the Jets in the second half. They are 2-0 when tied at the half. Boston 2-2 this year when even at the break. Coleman with a good pick off there, but hands possession back to Whitney Church. Step and win, though, with speed from Coleman, and she'll find Christy Mewis' feet. Marlborough to her right as Mewis works up the left side. Picked up now by Megan Oyster. Stolen by Lohman. Off the intended back pass for Barzik. And in a roll in the center of the park for Salem, who finds Del Rio. Del Rio coming centrally. That opens up space on the left side for Reynolds to come up. She'll work it up the line again for Crystal Dunn. Chasing her was Julie King. Stumble there from Dunn, and that allows King to win the ball. Evans for the target of Marlborough. Making the run forward is McCaffrey, her strike partner. Instead, it comes left for Christy Mewis, who will attack Whitney Church. Mewis taking a bit of a bump there, appealing for the foul, but not getting the whistle there from Levi Rippey. And it'll be DaCosta building out of the back and finding Nairn. This has been the most dangerous position of the game for the Spirit this year. They've allowed 4 goals, 4 of the 13 they've allowed this year in the first 15 minutes of the second half. Giveaway there from Johnson. Throw for Lazo. Barzik showing for it. Will retain possession. Broken up by Del Rio and turned forward by Crystal Dunn. Overlap there from Lohman, and an ooh from the crowd as Lohman will get on the ball and find Del Rio on the left. Salem. Switch right to working Whitney Church in the shadows. And now Oyster. Switch again for Del Rio. Inside now for Crystal Dunn. Trying to get a step on King and does so. Dunn in the box, looking for a shot near post and put it a little too near post. Hitting it into the side netting, and Tom Durkin says, how can you let her get that open? Worked out well in the end for the Breakers, but Crystal Dunn showing why. Scorer. It's a stat I've quoted often, but when Crystal Dunn's gone 90 minutes since driving with the Spirit, they're 11-5-5. When she hasn't, they're 3-8-1. Marlboro. Lazo. Touch forward from Coleman. Switched left by Shepfer. Wynn will let that hang a little bit for Molly Pathman's feet. Pathman up the line. Turn inside for McCaffrey. Broken up well by Salem. Headed down now by Coleman. But only as far as DeCosta, whose touch is heavy, but she'll fight for it. Midfield now, Shepfer sliding it right. Also beaten to it by the Spirit's Del Rio. And she'll find Catherine Reynolds. Back again for Laura Del Rio. Nairn will charge forward. Dunn to her left. She'll play Crystal Dunn. Great touch inside from Dunn to try and shake King. Dunn in the box again. Right-footed shot, far post is wide. But Crystal Dunn in the first 4 minutes of the second half has already carved out 2 chances. And that's got to be ringing alarm bells on the Breakers sideline. Kranich's kick forward, headed by Angela Salem in the center circle. Popped up by Lazo for the Breakers. Now knocked left by Salem for Del Rio. Touch around Julie King, looking for Dunn. Cleaned up by Cassie Coleman and out for a throw-in. Del Rio off the throw, stumbles and loses possession. Shep for centrally for Christy Mewis. Now it's Cassie Coleman. I knew I was going to call her Crystal Coleman at least once. That's her older sister. Oyster. And she can't find Dunn. Lazo. Mewis. Marlboro. Shepfer. Christy Mewis again. McCaffrey will continue the path left. Pathman's cross in. And out for a goal kick. Nothing doing on that cross. Game seems like it's opening up a little bit in the first 5 minutes of this second half. Chances both ways. As at times this game was the game that kind of bogged down behind midfield as the Spirit were working the ball around their back four. The Breakers content to let them do that. But Boston risking a little bit more to start this second half. Bringing that line a little higher to pressure. But as I said earlier, that opens up space for Crystal Dunn, and that's bad news. Barzik. Pathman up the line for Mewis. Making the run off her shoulders, McCaffrey, but Church blocks that pass forward and concedes the throw-in. Michael Minnick here with you at the Maryland SoccerPlex. No goals to speak of so far. Easily the farthest we've gotten to match at home this year without seeing someone hit the back of the net. Lewis's cross blocked by DeCosta. I think the Spirits outside forwards have done a really good job of defending when they've had to. DeCosta and Del Rio both. Crossing towards the middle. Karate kick down by Estelle Johnson and then knocked towards the sideline by Del Rio. Lohman trying to shield Pathman will do so. But Molly Pathman wins the battle in the end and drops it back. Touch inside for Barzik. Former Western New York Flash midfielder goes for Julie King. Right for Lazo. The captain King, as Dunn gets a foot in. Marlborough, Shepfer knocking it hard forward and out of the run of McCaffrey as Oyster opened up the channel there for Cozy West to get a clean look, and the second-year keeper out of Florida State will tell her back forward to get forward if she wants to hit it deep. Looking left, intended for Del Rio, but headed by Lazo instead. 50-50 header battled for by Marlborough and Lohman. Settles to the feet of Maddie Evans, who goes in the center circle for Christy Mewis. Shepfer now, who has a great shot from deep. Has a bit of an angle now to shoot it if she wants, but instead she goes right for Evans. Hard work for Reynolds to get over there and knock it out for a throw-in. Spirit have a couple subs stretching. One of them, though, is not Tori Huster. She's still seated on the bench. Is available tonight, listed as probable for tonight's game, but Mark Parsons not calling upon her quite yet. Coleman. Left for Pathman. Early cross in towards McCaffrey, working hard against Johnson and laying it off now. Intended for Marlborough, but Oyster comes charging through, wins the ball, and knocks it across midfield. Going back to Tori Huster, of course she's able to play if that probable listing is true, but you have to wonder if maybe Mark Parsons is thinking, I'd rather not use Tori today, knowing that I have a 2-week break for the World Cup, and she can really get back to full fitness if I don't have to use her tonight. And as I said, that game against Chicago, I think, is going to be a pivotal match at the top of the table in 2 weeks. Whistle against the Breakers, free kick for the Spirit. Reynolds. Johnson. This, incidentally, is the 8th meeting between these two teams. It's the first time that it was 0-0 at the half. There's always been at least one goal, and often several, before the break in this series, but this has been a more conservative affair so far. Breakers will try again with a throw-in. McCaffrey can't find the end of that throw-in. That allows Lohman to pick it up in her own corner. Chip it deep. Header won by Barzik for Boston. Battle now. And it'll be a throw for Del Rio in Washington. She'll let it go for Reynolds to take it and allow bodies to get forward. Back. Cassie Coleman. Pathman. And again for Coleman. Now it's the Spirit's turn to drop off a bit and allow the Breakers to just kind of work it around their back four, and Pathman unable to run that one down the sideline, and it will be a Washington throw. Spirit hoping to continue success here at home. They have never lost here this year. Boston, on the other hand, has lost every game on the road as Nairn tries one of her patented shots from 40 yards out and misses this one high. Breakers, as I said at halftime, are playing their only road game of a significant home stretch. You have to figure if they're going to make a run towards the top of the table, this is the time to do it. A team that's not depleted too much by the World Cup window, as a foul is called. Alyssa Nair, of course, with the U.S. is their third keeper, and Rafinha just called up by Brazil to join their squad, and then Bianca Sierra with Mexico, but otherwise it's a full complement for the Breakers. So you think Tom Durkin with that full side wants to go get a lot of threes during that homestand rather than ones and zeros. Nairn tracking it down her own 18 and dropping it back for Weiss. Kelsey Weiss doesn't officially had to make a save yet. Christy Mewis did hit the post late in the first half, but Mewis officially, of course, didn't get a save since that wasn't a shot that would have gone in had it gone untouched. King charging forward, finding McCaffrey in the center circle, dodges the tackle from Nairn and charges forward. Still a bit of a tangle, and a pretty clear foul there from Christine Nairn, and a pretty clear yellow on the way from Levi Rippey right now. So the Spirit captain goes in the book for the second time this year, and a free kick will come Boston's way.
Yellow card caution to Nairn in the 58th minute.
Rippey's paperwork complete. He's going to step off and make sure that Mewis has the requested 10 yards for this free kick. Points to Amanda DaCosta and Joanna Lohman and says, this is where you need to stand, and they say, okay. Little deep to shoot here for Mewis or Pathman here. You have to figure it's going to be a serve, and it will be from Mewis. Volley down by Johnson, intended for Julie King, who would charge forward from her center back position. Good job there from Mewis to slow Del Rio down, not allow the Spirit to counter cleanly. Ball right is sopped for DaCosta, and Pathman will knock it forward. Kelsey Weiss throws up a stop sign to Estelle Johnson and comes to get it. Sliding tackle from Marlborough. Knocks it out for a Catherine Reynolds throw. Del Rio for Reynolds. Nairn completing the triangle to Estelle Johnson. Oyster gesturing for her to pass it back to Kelsey Weiss, and she will. Bit of higher pressure again from the Breakers. Maddie Evans, the tip of the spear right now, as the Spirit still trying to work out of their own 18. Del Rio in the center of the park. Goes right. And Oyster back for Weiss again. Lohman showing for it. And again, Boston's shape is good. Spirit unable to get out of their own end right now. Salem will try. Finding Lohman. Turn inside from the vet. Making the hard run up the middle is Nairn. Instead it comes left, intended for Reynolds. And knocked off of Marlborough for a Spirit throw in. Again, Reynolds will be happy to take it in the 61st minute. Drifting into the part of the game where the Breakers have had the most trouble defensively. They've allowed 5 of their 13 goals in the middle 15 minutes of the second half. But they haven't been threatened by the Spirit in a little bit of time. After a good start to the half from Washington, where Crystal Dunn got 2 looks within 4 minutes, they've been kept on their heels a little bit. Boston has attacked a little more than they did in the first half, but still a pretty conservative game plan from Tom Durkin, although that could change here momentarily, as Kim Ezerike is at the 4th official. She'll be the second change for the Breakers. McCaffrey's chip, looking for Marlborough in space, and that was an easy look for Kelsey Weiss. Sure, Kim Ezerike has her compatriots on her mind as Canada playing their first game of their host bid at the Women's World Cup. Ezerike is someone that's been capped a few times, but did not get the call from John Herdman to be part of the 23, so keen to show what she can do in the league. Stolen by Mewis. McCaffrey running at Megan Oyster. Has Marlborough in support in the middle. McCaffrey cutting back, 22 yards from goal. Shot is deflected. And Weiss seeing that will try and keep it away with her feet and will do so. Good effort there from the Spirit goalkeeper. And she'll find the feet of Joanna Lohman. And again, the drip of build up from the back begins. The Spirit look for a penetrating pass. Church for DaCosta. She's dropped into a much deeper role now. More often than not joining the forwards, as it's been Lohman making a lot of runs forward. She's up there with Dunn right now in the center. Del Rio available left for Catherine Reynolds. Lohman does show forward and get it. Hits the turbo button, finds the feet of DaCosta. Cut inside now from Dunn. Fancy forward from Dunn. She's still in the box. I'm not sure how she still stayed on that ball. But finally, the Breakers center, but Kelsey Weiss coming off her line to make the play and deny Morgan Marlborough's central run. And she'll dump it left for Nairn. And Zerike still waiting to make her entrance into this match. Spirit still have all three changes available. Ball by Nairn goes right. Lohman is on side, in the box. Plays it across the face, looking for Del Rio. It's blocked. Second look for DaCosta, and she says, I will take that myself. And for the second straight game, Amanda DaCosta has scored, and the Spirit take a 1-0 lead in the 64th minute. Officially credited unassisted, and that will change things. While both teams come to midfield for this kickoff, it'll be Marlborough making way for Kim Ezerike.
Number 22, Kim Ezerike, replaces number 13, Morgan Marlborough. Ezerike for Marlborough in the 65th minute.
Here it is again as the cross from DaCosta was initially deflected, and Boston's midfield slow to come back. Their back line slow to come up. Not allowed Amanda DaCosta to take her time, turn, and hit that lefty beautifully into the back of the net. Coleman will go left for Pathman. So now, as I said, Boston's got to change it up. They've been kind of content to let the Spirit attack them. Now they must take the initiative down a goal. And they'll do so, finding Lazo on the right side. Not the best touch from the rookie out of Princeton, but recovers well. Lofts a good cross in, headed by Johnson with Weiss coming. Still loose in the box. Volley from Evans is deflected and in. And Boston answers right back. Maddie Evans taking any chance she can get. She scores her first professional goal. So this has gotten interesting very quickly. From 0-0 to 1-1 in about 2 minutes. And now, let's see what twist things take now. Boston's got what they wanted. They're back even. Can the Spirit answer? It's a really good cross in, and I think Weiss will probably have wanted that one back. Deflection came off of Nairn, unluckily, as kind of some irony there as the two college teammates meet up there, and Nairn inadvertently assisting her friend Maddie Evans. That, by the way, the first shot on goal for the Breakers tonight. That's efficient, though. You can feel the pace of this one's picked up. This woman will win a throw. Reynolds inside now for Dunn. Dunn splits two, looks to beat a third, but King stands her ground very well, and she'll find the feet of Katie Shepfer. Mewis charging forward. Ezerike's first big touch comes on the left side. Crossed in towards the near post and caught by Kelsey Weiss. It's something the Spirit were victimized by at Western New York a couple weeks ago, is right when they had gotten even on Crystal Dunn's goal from Christine Nairn in the 55th minute. They gave up a goal right back to Jasmine Spencer in the 57th minute that turned out to be the game winner. Certainly Evans' goal less damaging because it's tying the game instead of putting the Spirit in a hole, but you hate to give up a lead at home. Estelle Johnson. What a flip of script for Maddie Evans. I mentioned it earlier. Getting sent off in her last game here after coming on as a halftime sub. This year, the hero as things stand now for the Breakers with that equalizing goal. And one of those examples of sometimes if you just throw it on goal, good things happen. As the fortunate deflection from Christine Nairn knocked Kelsey Weiss off balance, and she couldn't make the save. Chip into space now for Del Rio. Crossing it high towards the goal scorer, DaCosta. Back it comes for Church. Chip towards the top of the 18, cleaned up by Amy Barzik for Boston. She'll walk it up to Shepfer, making the hard run in the channel is Ezerike, and they'll play it for her. Running for step is Megan Oyster, and she'll fight the big Canadian in the right corner. Ezerike shielding well. Tried to drop it back for McCaffrey, but it ricocheted off of Catherine Reynolds, and the Breakers will get their third corner of the match from the right side in the 70th minute. Spirit still have 3 changes available. Breakers just 1. And after a steady diet of short corners in the first half on both sides, we're going to see this one maybe go a little bit longer. Driven by Mewis towards the far post. Headed back across the face and wide from Cassie Coleman. Goal kick for Kelsey Weiss in the Spirit. So DaCosta and Evans, your goal scorers, 2 minutes apart here in the second half. Spirit 1, Breakers 1. It's also the result of the first ever NWSL match as these two teams played at at Boston, as it comes left for Ezerike. In the box now, the Canadian will try the left-footed shot, sliding it past Weiss, but wide of the goal as McCaffrey was there. But yeah, the first ever match these two played in NWSL went 1-1. Tiffany McCarty scoring for the Spirit in the 15th minute, and then in stoppage time, Sydney LaRue, you may have heard of her, scoring for Boston to make it a 1-1 tie. Estelle Johnson. Switch right, chested by Church. Now drop back. Oyster swings it for Lohman. Pressured by Barzik, she'll drop it for Reynolds. Chip into space, and a big header there from King as Del Rio was making the diagonal run into that gap behind the back four. Had that ball gotten through, you figured the Spaniard would have gotten to it first. Pretty good match from this center back pairing, King and Coleman. As I said, Kat Whitehill's absence from this team has forced some reshuffling. King moved inside when Boston made that early substitution in the first half, bringing Lauren Lazo on for Rachel Wood. It's like the Spirit's first change is going to be Casco. She's getting some words from Mark Parsons in front of the bench right now. Comes through all the way to Kranick. Kranick will look to punt it deep. Roll it out instead. So the water was boiling a bit with those two goals, but now the game has kind of settled down a little bit to a simmer. Both teams probing, but not creating a ton of opportunities in the last few minutes. Reynolds. Looking for Dunn. Del Rio making the run as well. It'll be Del Rio getting to it first. Playing it inside. tried to touch it around Coleman, but the second-year center back from Florida State stands her ground and concedes a corner. Looks like the Spirit will wait till after the corner kick to set Didasco loose. She gets some final stretches in by the fourth official. Again, it'll be Nairn triggering. Salem available short. Crystal Dunn and Whitney Church both about 25 yards from goal on the left side. 4 players in red and blue on the far post, making runs in. Short it comes for Salem. Touched again for Nairn. Short for Dunn. Played inside now for Salem, and she's offside. You can see what the Spirit were trying to do there. It's a well-worked play, but Boston's back four pulling up well to draw the flag from the far side, and we'll see Didasco now. It'll be Joanna Lohman making so she doesn't get to be the hero against her former club, Joanna Lohman, but a solid 73-minute shift again from the veteran, and now fresh legs and some pace for the rookie from UCLA, Caprice Didasco. Didasco and Del Rio chatting a bit to figure out the new look and the new position. Looks like Didasco is going to pretty much make a straight swap and play on that left side of midfield. Ewis's chip caught at the near post by Kelsey Weiss, intended for Ezerique. Roll now for Estelle Johnson. Oyster beats Mewis on the dribble. Oyster joining the attack. Still has space to play it through for Crystal Dunn. Kranich off her line will just beat Dunn to that ball. Have to be pretty brave as a goalkeeper, and certainly that was a situation that Kranich didn't love, but knew she had to do to keep this game 1-1. Kranich goes deep, and a little bit of goalkeeper wars as it'll be Weiss picking it up, and she'll roll it for Estelle Johnson. Didasco. Salem. Give away to King, and now she'll try and emulate Oyster in charge for it, but the pass for the goal scorer Evans off the mark. You're just joining us 1-1 here with 15 minutes plus stoppage time to go here at the Maryland SoccerPlex. Amanda DaCosta scoring in the 64th minute. Maddie Evans in the 66th. The goals coming just a minute and 41 seconds apart. DaCosta first, Evans second. Floated ball for Didasco on the left side. Stood up and kept in by Lazo. It'll be the captain, Nairn, circling back behind midfield and going short for Oyster. Spear, though, are getting results they like elsewhere. As in the other match tonight, Western New York leading Chicago 1-0 at Salem Stadium. So if the Spirit could pull a late winner and Chicago continues to lose, it will be Washington heading into the World Cup break in first place. Dunn turning inside. Again, battling Coleman, and King will come over as second defender to chip it forward, and Mewis will head it on. Now McCaffrey. Ezerique, her only option in the center of the park. Arriving help in Barzik and Evans. It comes from Maddie Evans, headed out by Reynolds. Nairn will pick out Didasco on the left side. Nairn. Switch left, and Reynolds has some space if she can bring this down cleanly. She will. Into space now for Didasco. Flag is up on Caprice. And a free kick for Boston. Samantha Mewis getting that goal for Western New York. So Christy, her sister, has hit the post tonight but hasn't found the back of the net so far. DaCosta, the goal scorer, coming back for it for Washington. She'll find Whitney Church. Nairn. Didasco calling for it on the left side. Instead it comes short for Salem. And a whistle here and a foul against Shepfer. Can't think of too many whistles in this half on either side. Dunn in a foot race. King forced to slide it out, and it will be a throw-in very deep. Caprice Didasco wants a ball right now. She wants to go. Back she'll come for Reynolds on the toss. She'll set up her right foot. Play it short for Del Rio. Trying to shake Barzik. Nice little ball inside to try and find Dunn, but the angle not quite right. And Greenwich will be able to come out and get it. Again, the pace slowed here as Barzik will bring it up. Direct it comes for Ezerique and off the mark. Throw in for Washington. Salem. Back in the 18 for Johnson. Reynolds for Johnson. Tiffany Weimer is shedding the penny on the Spirit bench. She might be Mark Parsons' second change. Reynolds and Dunn combine to win the ball, and now here's Caprice Didasco with space to attack up the middle. Dunn to her left. Plays it to her right for DaCosta, the goal scorer. Cross again towards Dunn. Diving header from Julie King. Getting trouble out for the time being, but Whitney Church looking to restart it. Didasco. Touch in from Barzik. Mewis coming back to get it. Excuse me, that's actually Evans on the ball. Now finding Mewis. And all the way back to Kranich. Boston readying their third and final substitution as well. It is Suzanne Perez. She's at the fourth official now. Weimer getting instructions from Parsons to be Washington's second change. Oyster. Del Rio. DaCosta for Oyster. Reynolds wants it left. Oyster's going to try and go line up for Didasco. And she brings it down behind Reynolds. Throw for Lazo in the breakers, and they'll make the change both ways before that. First the switch for Boston, and it'll be Perez coming on. And Stephanie McCaffrey will be the player to come off. And after she made her first appearance in 2 years for the final minute plus stoppage time of last match, Tiffany Weimer will not come on right now. The referee's saying hang on. And now he's allowing the change. I'm not sure why that delay was needed, but Amanda DaCosta, the goal scorer, will come off, and Tiffany Weimer will try and do what she did so many times for Portland 2 years ago, make something happen late as a substitute. Tangle there, and Ezerique draws the foul for Reynolds. So it looks like Perez is going to take out the spot McCaffrey was playing at second striker, so Boston's now changed out their front line with Ezerique and Perez on. And Weimer will also be a straight swap, replacing DaCosta on the right side of that front three for Mark Parsons. Free kick to deal with now from Mewis.
Correction, the Spirit have one substitution remaining.
Lefty service, whipped in towards the far post, headed out by Washington. As Salem was first to it. Now King looking to restart the attack, crossing towards Ezerique, and too close to goal, and an easy pick for Kelsey Weiss. Oyster. Weimer's first touch. Church. Broken up and stolen by Shepfer. Salem fighting for it and winning a good tackle. Into space now, looking for Didasco. Also cut off as Kranich has come well out of her 18 to knock it forward. First ball comes over everybody. Hit clear with the outside of Megan Oyster's boot. And now Del Rio into space for Dunn. Trying to get a step on King and does so. Dunn in the box, 1-on-1 against Coleman. Dunn's shot is low and right at Kranich. She wanted to go far post, but didn't hit it with enough of an angle. And Crystal Dunn, with her fourth good look at the game, still, for once, being kept off the board for now. Oyster picking off the pass intended for Ezerique. Now it's Nairn for Church. Weimer. Del Rio shielding well against Barczyk and going back to Oyster. Weiss will go deep looking for Didasco. Wins the header against Lazo. King comes over the back of Dunn to win it. Second ball popped up by Nairn. Knocked by Coleman. Won by Nairn again. She'll pick the right pass this time to the right side. Cross deflected. Barczyk heads it down. Charging is Nairn. She'll win it for Weimer. Her ball is heavy, intended for Del Rio, and unable to be tracked down by Church. A throw for Boston in the 84th minute. Again, if you're just joining us, 2 goals, less than 2 minutes apart, midway through this half, have brought us to this point. Amanda DaCosta in the 64th minute, her second goal in as many games for Washington. And then Maddie Evans scoring her first in NWSL, that coming in the 66th minute. Glad you have joined us on a beautiful evening here for soccer at the Maryland SoccerPlex, Maureen Hendricks Field. Michael Minnick here with you. Looking forward to absolutely packed with women's soccer as the Women's World Cup kicked off tonight in Canada. That continue into July, and of course, in 2 weeks we'll pick things up where we left off in NWSL and bring you more of one of the best leagues in the world. Dunn, looking for a late winner, cutting back, trying to slide it to a teammate, but it was behind the run of Del Rio, and the Spirit will have to come all the way back to Weiss and Johnson to regroup. Spirit unofficially with a 7-2 lead in shots on goal, and of course the dual threat of being at home and scoring first. Mark Parsons, I think, will be disappointed with less than 3 points. Nairn trying from deep, forcing the save from Kranich. Del Rio is crashing, and Kranich finally realizes it and falls on the ball. Nairn's had a couple sniffs from deep. That, I think, was the best, as Kranich was about 12 yards off her line and could have been beaten by the absolutely touch-perfect chip, but Nairn not quite able to make it happen and to pull it off. Nairn's ball too tall for Didasco. Would have been too tall for about 3 or 4 of Didasco sitting on top of each other's shoulders. And we'll have a stoppage here as a second ball finds its way onto the field. Spirit been showing it Caprice Didasco to double down, and she does so, heading that ball out for another throw in. Evans off of Nairn will do it again. Lazo again will take. Didasco popping it up. Ezerique fighting for it. And the final touch there ends in a Spirit goal kick. Yell or two from the Boston bench for corner, but call not coming there from Levi Rippey and crew here. Also stepping up for it, but Miss hits it with her right foot out for another Spirit throw in the 88th minute. Dunn Has Weimer to her right. Dunn trying to lay it off for Weimer. It'll come to her. Now Del Rio stepping over. Has her pass blocked by Pathman. Now Weimer will try again on the right edge of the box. Spin move from her. Perez with her first real impact on this game to win the ball. Knocks it clear only as far as Oyster. Harried by Ezerique. Oyster will keep possession and draw the whistle. Free kick for Washington in the 88th minute. Both these teams pulled out stoppage time winners 3 weeks ago. For Washington, of course, it was Francisco Ordega from Crystal Dunn in the 92nd minute. For Boston, it was Christy Mewis taking advantage of a turnover to Barry Portland with a strike in the 93rd minute. Both teams hoping some of that magic still in the pockets. Dunn. Angle to shoot. She'll keep it. Dunn will try the shot, now bending it towards the far post and into the gloves of Kranich. Spirit fans on the far side are picking up their volume, picking up their drumming, hoping to inspire their team to get a late winner. Right now it's the defensive unit that has to do the job, though, as Nairn pops that header up. Good shield from Mewis to draw the foul in Del Rio, and Del Rio with a bit of a protest there, but good spot for a free kick for the Breakers. Left of center, 30-odd yards from goal. Would have to take something really good to score from here, but a rebound, a cross, both good options. Perez, the second option as well. Spirit had everybody but Crystal Dunn back to defend this one. Of course, the Spirit got a good chance in the first half on a counter from a set piece with just set it into space and let Dunn run onto it. Never a bad idea. It'll be Mewis striking and striking well off the crossbar. Hit with pace from the left foot of Christy Mewis, and now the Spirit will counter quickly off the goal kick. Mewis has hit the post, and now she's hit the crossbar. Fourth official has the board up. We will have 3 minutes of stoppage time here to see if we can find a winner. Del Rio goes down there and draws the belated whistle. Kick deep there, and that's just a silly yellow card there from Cassie Coleman. Already heard the whistle as they're going to get the stretcher as Del Rio is down and also a Boston player is down, so they're going to call for the trainers on both sides, but just a silly move there from Coleman. Whistle had already blown. You knew it was a foul. Just to pick that ball up and give it a little punt. Just a needless yellow there, and she goes in the book for the first time this year. Concern now for the 2 injured players at midfield. Looks like the Breaker is taking the worst of it right now, getting stretched out behind the center strike. Shepfer was the player there to shake it up, and she'll be helped towards the far sideline. We'll resume with the Spirit free kick. So, of course, those 3 minutes of stoppage time are out the window now. You expect maybe 4 or 5 with this stoppage, probably closer to 4. Christine Nairn will eye this one, Megan Oyster as well available there. Now Oyster will step off. Didasco, Weimer, and Don the targets for it, but instead it'll come back for Estelle Johnson. Weiss all the way up. We'll play Oyster. Chip forward, headed by Coleman. Weimer for Del Rio. Dunn trying to stay on side, and a good tackle from Coleman. Played in the box again. Dunn trying to turn the corner, playing it back behind the run of Weimer. Evans will come crashing in and just hit it anywhere she wants, and it's out for a throw-in because that's not a spot you want that ball rolling free. Didasco running for the throw. She'll take it for Reynolds. appealing for a deflection. Not going to get that appeal granted. Throw for Lazo and the Breakers in the 93rd minute. Again, I think we'll have more like 4 than 3, which was the initial indication from the referee. It's assistant here on the near side. The 4th official. Nairn. Weimer. Into space for Dunn. Coleman does a great job there to keep her off the ball without fouling her, and Cronage will come out and get it. Certainly there was some body contact there, but Levi Rippey saying it was fair and legitimate contact from the moving Coleman to keep Dunn from getting to that one. Didasco. Dumped into space by Salem. Popped up high by King. She'll head her own kick there. Perez shipping it down in space for herself. Mewis trying another shot from deep, and after hitting the woodwork twice, unable to find the frame this time. Goal kick for Washington deep into stoppage time. One more attack, I think, is all this one has, and even less than that. Levi Rippey will blow it into this one. A share of the points for the Washington Spirit and the Boston Breakers. It was Washington taking the lead in the 64th minute as Amanda DaCosta with a really nice left-footed finish off an initial clearance from the top of the 18, given space and time to turn, and she made Boston pay for that. But it was the Breakers coming right back in the 66th minute. Maddie Evans' shot deflected off of Christine Nairn past Kelsey Weiss. And for the first time this year, the Boston Breakers get a point on the road after starting 0-3. And for the first time this season, the Washington Spirit drop a point at home after starting 3-0 here at the Plex. We check on the other game. Western New York has opened up that game. It's now 3-0 over Chicago, so pencil the Flash in with 3 points. So the unofficial table right now sees Chicago with 15 points going into the World Cup break. Washington will be right behind them with 14. Boston now has 11. FC Kansas City, who has the weekend off, has 10. Houston 9. Seattle and Portland 8. Western New York, they'll move to 10 now into a log jam for 4th. And then Sky Blue FC will head into the break with 7 points. Final stats for you from this one. Washington had a decisive advantage at the half in shots, 9-3. They extended that to 16-8 to finish this one off, but both teams only able to put one past their respective goalkeepers. 3 corners for the Breakers, 2 for the Spirit. 9 fouls called on Boston, 6 on Washington, and a yellow card both ways. 1 to Nairn, 1 to Cassie Coleman. So, once again, the final score from the Maryland SoccerPlex, the Washington Spirit won and the Boston Breakers won. The Spirit will be on the road against Chicago June 20th. The next game here, June 27th, against the Houston Dash. For Chicago, it's home for for Boston, it's home for 4 in a row. Seattle, Western New York, FC Kansas City, and Chicago will head to the Northwest. So, I'm Michael Minnick. Thanks for watching tonight. Enjoy the Women's World Cup. I know I will. And we'll see you at the Plex in a couple of weeks.